When you start out streaming, one of the most nerve-wracking things and anxious things that you can go through is trying to figure out your logo, your name, your brand, because you have to think to yourself, what's the logo? What's the image? What's the brand? What are the colors that I'm going to use to represent me for years and years to come? Just come up with something. It really doesn't matter in the beginning. To be honest, it really doesn't matter, because what's going to happen is once you get started streaming, you're going to figure a lot of things out as you go along. Doesn't matter if your name's super generic. It could be your name. It could be your gamer tag. Just pick something and just get started. The ideas of how you're going to want to represent yourself are going to become more clear to you as time goes on. So I say, don't worry about it. The people who follow you and the people who are going to be in your community are going to ride and die with you no matter what you do. Nobody stops watching a streamer because they change their logo or they change their name. So you don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. Just get started. You can figure that out as you go on.
Topic at hand is getting started, choosing a name, logo, or a brand. When I started, I came into the streaming world not really sure on what I wanted to, deliver. I'm big into fitness. I'm big into gaming. I wanted to coordinate those two elements together to bring something supportive, educational, informative. The whole point of it was to help more gamers get into a more productive and flexible physical mindset that can work for them while they're still living their, day-to-day lives as a streamer, as a gamer. Moving forward, that's my brand. In reference to choosing a name, I've always had the name Jules. That was a nickname for me. D4W happened to just come up as a group thing, and as I was making a gamer tag one day, I just decided to go with that. And D4W means down for whatever. You can ask me anything. Yo, Jules, you down for this? Yeah, let's do it. So there you go. There's D4W, man. In reference to the logo, I've been through various ones. When it came to me choosing the logo, I decided to go with different variations. And because I create my own stuff, it was really hard for me to actually pick which one. And out of the series I've made, I decided to go with my latest one, and it has something very unique to it. I'm very fond of Capcom and Street Fighter style of logos, and then also I wanted to have mine have a bit of an anime vibe to it. These were the influences that hit me as a kid, and as I became this streamer, I said, hey, the things that I love, I want to pour that into my craft. So that's what happened. Not saying that when people make their logos that they shouldn't go with the esports trend and whatnot, but if you personally want to stand out amongst everyone else, I highly advise you come up with a logo that people can see, and when they recognize it, they're like, I know that person, I seen that logo before and I want to rock it, or I want to support it. Just think about those things when you're coming up with the logo.
You want to be a streamer. Let's start off with your name. Choose something that fits you. It could be literally anything. If you want to be called Mr. Potato Head, your whole stream could be about potatoes. You can name it something that you want your stream based around. Anything and everything. Get creative with it. Get unique. Go all out. Streaming is about having fun, and choosing your name is the first part of it. It's super exciting. After you figure out your name, go for the logo. You can get an artist to make your logo, or you can make it yourself. Streaming is about being super creative. Stay true to you. The way that you act on stream will bring the kind of people that come into your stream. Stay true to your personality. If you want to put on a persona, still remember who you are. Schedules. You make a schedule cater to your needs. Don't try to compare yourselves to others and try to be like others. Be you, because you don't want streaming to turn into a chore.
Why don't we start with the theme first? Let's ask ourselves some basic questions. What interests you? What do you want your community to be called? Will you get sick of this theme? Can you build a name and a logo around this theme? After you have your theme picked out, you can strike up some ideas of a name or even a logo. Personally, I enjoy researching names. I know I wanted somewhat of a Native American theme, including wolves and stuff like that, and I ended up stumbling across the name Nukpana. I added King in front, and it was all history after that. Be sure to find something meaningful to you. Just try to make sure it's appropriate and somewhat professional, especially if you're looking to make this a career more than a hobby. My advice also, which isn't necessarily right or wrong, would be to try to have your name not contain too many characters, numbers, or symbols. That could make things a little bit more difficult. Now that you got your name picked out, the next thing you'd want to do would be to go on all social media platforms and stream platforms, make sure that your name is available there. Try to make sure that your name is exactly the same on all platforms. Let's talk about our logo. When you're looking for an artist, make sure whoever it is you find is reputable and has a portfolio. Be careful of sites like Fiverr and other sites that offer cheap art. I know streaming is fun, but be careful you aren't burning yourself out. I know sometimes it can be very exciting as you're quickly growing and your community is getting bigger. You don't want to overdo it and take time away from your IRL stuff. Make sure you're having fun and being yourself.
Oh, so you're still here, huh? We're gonna be jumping into a topic of how you come up with a brand. A brand is basically whenever someone hears your name or sees a picture of you, what are the thoughts that immediately jump into that person's head? I think whenever it comes to branding and being online, your audience really helps out. You'll have a better sense of who you are based off of the feedback you continuously get from people as you test things out, try new things, find out what you're great at. Name. How did I come up with my name? I was playing Xbox one time and it gave me Zilchee Cobra. Whenever I decided I wanted to move more into streaming and YouTube and stuff like that, I just basically took the name Zilchee Cobra 16 and I wanted to make it 2 syllables because there's a lot of cool brands and companies and stuff that had 2 syllables, and then I wanted to add something catchy at the end of the name, and I'm like, E is always catchy at the end of a name. So I changed my name to Zilchee with 2 E's. So the logo, I think it really depends on what you want to create. For me and my channel, I wanted it to be more personal, just about my personality. I felt like that was a strong point I have. I think understanding what your strengths and the weaknesses are and then really exploiting them online onto the interwebs. I think finding your strength and really pushing on it hard is the way to go when it comes to any sort of content creation. Schedules. A schedule is holding yourself accountable for your audience and your community. I think the less you're able to stream, you stream like on 2 days a week. I think having a schedule is incredibly important. Schedule out videos on YouTube. Tell yourself I'm going to upload 2 videos a week onto YouTube. There's a lot of other people who want to do this thing. The only way you're going to be pushed out there is if you do it more and you do it better. And then you'll start seeing results.
My story as far as the name came along, I used to go by something that was completely different. You know, it was one of the things where I played with a group of people, so it was like everybody kind of chimed in at the same time. They all kind of pointed the finger like, yeah, you need to change your name. And I was like, okay, well, really don't have any other ideas what to do. And they were like, I don't know, it's gonna be something, maybe something a little more serious, because it was kind of like a running joke for my last name. I was like, okay, I can do that. Something serious. Except I spelled it out Sirius. And then about a year or 2 later, the satellite radio came out. Ended up having to change it again because then I was being pointed at and saying, oh, you took after the satellite radio. No, not at all. Not what the case is. Ended up changing it to C and have never moved it since. So that's how I came up with the name. So a lot of the themes that run within my stream, we have a lot of like space and stars and ships and that kind of sci-fi feel. Like our currency is stars. Like I have an intermission screen that's a spaceship where you see me sitting behind like a little man desk and stuff. So that's basically what I did with it. I just we kept the name. I like the font style. It's like a brush strike style font, and then I had a little spaceship across the bottom of it. Real clean, real simple, nothing over the top, nothing crazy. I actually do a lot of my own logo designs and work and transitions, stingers for plenty of other people that are on the platform. Scheduling, it's important. By far one of the most important things you will ever do, I feel. It's all right to make a schedule, but to actually take the schedule and be consistent, you will grow beyond your wildest imagination just from being able to do that. I've heard this from King Bailey Bomb. I've heard it from The Preacher. Think of it as a TV show. If you know a show comes on 9 o'clock Sunday afternoon, keeping that consistency and knowing that when you say you're going to go live at a certain time, people know you're going to go live at a certain time. They can count on it. Without one, it's very hard.
When it comes to streaming and content creating, you want to make sure that you have some of the 4 basic things decided on before you start. Choosing a name, a logo, a brand, and having some type of schedule is a great way to get started. Choosing a name can be really difficult as you do want it to be unique and something that helps you stand out from other people. When I got started, my name was Tolkienbird, obviously after J.R.R. Tolkien, and then I just added the bird. I became Birdie and was Birdie for about a year when I decided to make a name that I actually wanted and that I felt was more fitting to me and my personality. And honestly, the entire time I was completely aware that it didn't feel like me and didn't really reflect a lot about my personality. So I made the difficult decision to rebrand and am now LunaLegend. Rebranding is very difficult. You have to basically go through the creation of your stream and content all over again and make sure that it matches what you're trying to rebrand to. Posting on social media, on Discord, letting your community know that you are rebranding before it happens is a good way to get them used to the upcoming changes. But if you don't announce it, it's a gigantic headache. So I made kind of a big deal about it for about a month before I even decided to go through with it, and that definitely helped. However, if you can choose a name at the beginning that you're going to be comfortable with throughout the entire thing, I do recommend that. Rebranding is very hard. After the rebranding was done, I did realize that my viewership started to go down, and I ended up getting messages from people saying I didn't even know it was you, just because they had missed the social post, so they had no idea about the rebrand. From that, my advice going forward for anyone who wants to maybe choose something for now but could go through a rebranding process later is, if you don't have to do that, don't do it. When it comes to a logo, it really should have something to do with your name. It should make sense. Branding is very similar to your logo. A brand is just something that you are known for. It could also be considered kind of what you bring to the table when it comes to streaming and content creating. So it can be your personality. It can be the atmosphere that you have. Scheduling is very important. I went without a schedule for over a year, and it actually worked out for me, and my community was always really okay with that. They were still really accepting of the fact that this is something I do more out of the fun of it and just to hang out with people than anything else. So they knew that if I needed the time off, I was going to put that first. Do I think that having a schedule is important when you're starting out? Yes. Like many other content creators will tell you, having a schedule and being consistent is a good way for people to come in, get to know you, and expect to see you on certain days. So you've seen a lot of different opinions on creating a name, a logo, a brand, and schedules. And as we've said at the beginning, all of this is based off of our own personal experience. We hope that whatever you did take away from each content creator helps you in some way. So this was the Getting Started episode of the Do's and Don'ts of Streaming. Check out the next episode when we cover setup and equipment, OBS versus Streamlabs OBS, panels and overlays, and so much more. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video, and we'll see you next time on the Do's and Don'ts of Streaming.